Listen, I know I said, I'm finally finished in one of my thumbnails. Did I lie? I might have. I said I was done with my electrics. I understand that, but hear me out. I have been operating with the Bluetti AC200L and the D40 for about a year. And while yes, with my 600 watts of solar, it is manageable, I may be a little power hungry these days. We now have a water heater. If I really want to utilize that water heater and get a nice hot shower, I need more power. Check this out behind me. I've spent the last week and a half installing wall panels, which means I had to completely disassemble my electronic system. I'm gonna seal up my walls with the most difficult piece I've ever cut. Oh yes. And pre-assembling my new electrical system. The cables are snuck. The wall panels are laid. The box frame is framed. And the batteries will be delivered shortly. When it comes to my van build, I'm working backwards to move forward. Keeping all of that in mind, we are going to be adding 2 fat boys right here.
Hello.
Hey, we can just put them right here.
If you want to take the top off,
yes, I can.
heavy.
Yep, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
Battery number 1. And she's currently got 3 pips from factory. Pips just means bars. And battery number 2. So like I previously mentioned, I need more power. I reached out to Dr.Prepare and I asked for 2 100 amp batteries. Everything about my electrical system is modular and will continue to be modular. Yes, these are normal 100 amp batteries where you can come out right directly through the lugs on top, but you can also, with this model, add what's called the hub. The hub has a Anderson connection. I have 2 hubs, so I can have these work separately of each other, or I can have them work together. I'm gonna wire these batteries in parallel and I'm gonna run them into my fuse panel. And these are gonna power all my DC inputs. I'm gonna continue to use my Bluetti AC200L for all of my 120 volt systems. So I'm not gonna run an inverter out of these, but if I wanted to, I could. I wanna talk about the hub right now. The hub, you can have solar input. You are limited to how much solar you can put in there, but the fact that this system, just this one battery, you can take overlanding, you can take car camping, and it is acting the same as a small battery bank like the Bluettis, the Jackeries, the Anchors. You've got 2 USB outs, USB-A, USB-C. You've got a USB-C in and out, which means you can charge this battery through USB-C. I don't think you understand. I can charge this battery through USB-C. Additionally, you have a 12 volt out. So if I wanted to wire this just right out of here, directly to my fuse panel, and I had the sufficient DC output to match this DC output, my system's a little larger. This hub does break down the power capacity that you can get out of here. But if I wanted to have 3 or 4 DC outputs, I could wire this directly into my fuse panel. Second to that, when you order the hub, they supply you with a cigarette lighter output for this DC output, which is kind of crazy. This entire system, it is a powerhouse and it is simplified so you do not have to overthink the power consumption. These are Life PO4 battery cells, which are the same cells that are in my Bluetti AC200L. The capacity of these is why I reached out to Dr.Prepare. On paper, this product seems legit AF, and I'm super excited to incorporate this into my battery system. All right, it's been a couple days since you've last seen me. I had to wait on a couple parts, and the weather just wasn't great in order for me to have the doors open and work on the van. Right now, I'm just adding battery retention straps. These weigh this amount, and we want to make sure that when I'm taking my turns or going up inclines, that there's going to be no issues. So I just ordered these off of Amazon. Since the last time I filmed, I do want to share the batteries are at the same reading. It's been probably a week and a half, and I think that that's really important. Sometimes what you'll find is even though you're not using your batteries, there will be a draw from them and you'll come back and your batteries will kind of be dead. I think that these would probably hold their charge perfectly fine. One of the reasons I really wanted these batteries is they're 100 amp hour, which means they are 1280 watts. And that means I'm basically doubling my power system, my entire DC battery system, which is crazy. It is competitive in size. It's also competitive in the way that it's providing much, much more power. Battery comes with its own set of straps, which is very handy. And if I ever wanted to take this out and use it in a different way, I could. When I get my electric bike, I'll be able to just charge it through here, which will be super crazy and awesome and amazing. Just want to show you what we're going to have here. We're going to have our positive from the battery terminal go into a 150 amp fuse. From there, we're going to go into an on-off switch. Out of the on-off switch, we're going to go into a bus bar. From the bus bar, we're going to do a breakout into our fuse panel. We are also going to have the D40 break into the bus bar. And for our negative, we will have a chassis, ground, we will have the negative for this, the negative for this, and the negative from the battery. So all four will be connected on the black bus bar, and we will have 3 connections on the hot bus bar.
On this side, but you'll know when I go live. Stop, just flip it. Thank you.
Nothing is connected to live power right now. Again, I'm not connecting this side of the cable until I feel good about everything being connected. All of my positives are securely connected. And we've connected this last one to my fuse panel. So I'm just going to put the cover on. The cover does come with 2 plastic little nuts. Just give it a good check. And I'm going to replicate everything I've done here to the negative bus bar and plug in all of my cables to my fuse panel. I'm going to do that all off camera. It's going to take some time. I will do a grand reveal. It'll be a good time. Rinse and repeat. We've got this one going into the fuse panel. We've got this one attached down to the chassis. We've got this one attached to the D40. And we've got this one that's going to attach itself. I'm going to attach it to the battery. Already wired my batteries together. All right, this is the last attachment point for the entire electrical system. Reminder of what I've done. I've set up 2 100 amp hour batteries together, and I've wired into my fuse panel. The way that we're going to charge these batteries is through my Bluetti that is connected to my solar that sends DC power through the D40. The D40 then charges any type of battery or fuse panel or anything that you might have that needs power. It'll send that power, but it's DC power. So it's kind of like the way that you would do DC to DC charging with an alternator. I just heard my fridge turn on. That's a good sign. I just heard my Max Air fan turn on. My diesel heater. Great. Let's test my lights. All right, things are working. The only thing I'm now realizing is that on the website, there is a picture of an application. I just emailed Dr.Prepare to see if there is an app, but based off my research online and everything that I'm finding, there is no app. And I was heavily relying on that. It looks like I might need to buy a shunt, and a shunt is just a piece of gear that you can put between a line that allows you to have digital, whether it's Bluetooth or their like little screen that comes with it, to view the power. Out of the DC output here, this is the cable that connects to the D40. We'll power the D40 on, and then we'll come look at the D40. All these different modes. I gotta get it in the life PO4 mode. There it goes. There it is. It is now charging those batteries. So that is how the D40 is designed, and we are now using it with the Dr.Prepare batteries. So this is super awesome. I have now integrated Dr.Prepare batteries with a Bluetti power system, and it is now going to be powering all of my van. It is hot as crap, but I have just finished installing and integrating the entire system. I have officially doubled my power source with two 100 amp hour batteries. That is so crazy and so awesome. I want to shout out Dr.Prepare one more time for sending these batteries to me. I think they're really going to be changing life on the road for me a lot. And I don't think you will really see the true benefits of these batteries unless you watch my future videos and see how I'm able to pull DC power in a way that I haven't been able to before. If my Bluetti ever goes out, I now have a way to power my entire van, and all I would have to do is integrate an inverter, and I would have sustainable batteries. Good morning. I've woken up with crust in my eyes and the urgency to make sure all the cables are still good. I did want to look at the power usage, and as you can see right here that there is 3 pips left on each battery, which means I would probably have anywhere from 2 to 3 days without having to fret about solar, which means I could finally go camping in snow. This expands the time that I can be off-road, the time that I can be away from civilization. Last thing, I do want to share that if I want to run my Bluetti that's connected to my bus bars to power my fuse panel, I still can do that. I will show you proof. This is off, and fan is turning on. So if I want to be in load mode with the Bluetti powering my fuse panel, I still can do that. This is what I was talking about when I said modularity. I don't have to use the 12-volt batteries. I don't have to use the Bluetti. I have fail safes built into my van, which I think is pretty cool. There's not a lot of, I think, van lifers that have those fail safes. So even though I bought this Bluetti and the D40 and I am transitioning to 12-volt batteries, I think that it still brings a very important use case to the scenario, which is what it's originally designed for emergency situations. All right, so what you're seeing here is the DC output is jumping around. For a second, it was only pulling about like 89 watts, and that's because what I'm theorizing is that these were not charging because they were fully topped off. This one drained just now, just enough for the charger to pop back on. But for a second, the DC out of here, I think, was what was powering the few things that are on in the van. You see here, we're back down to 91. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say is that if my DC batteries are fully topped off, the Bluetti is going to go ahead and try to work to directly power my DC loads, especially if we have solar being fed in. My goal is to have the Dr.Prepare batteries fully topped off if I can at all times, and utilize my Bluetti to power my few DC load items, and my AC load throughout the day. And if I don't have any solar, I have this entire backup system to pull DC from. This will be my last check-in for the day. The sun is setting. That's a beautiful thing. We are gonna be rocking with these batteries so hard. Cool. So now I just turned off my DC output from the Bluetti, and which means it's not charging these batteries or sending the draw to the fuse panel. So the Dr.Prepare batteries are powering everything in the van, so the lights, the fan, the max air fan, and the fridge. I'll do one checkup in the morning to see how everything went, but this will be great. A rainbow. That's a rainbow for the Dr.Prepare batteries and all the future that my van holds. One of the things I mentioned very early on in the video was having my van be modular and having multiple troubleshooting options. Say my Bluetti goes out, not a problem. I will still have my Dr.Prepare batteries that can sustain things in my van. Say that my D40 stops working, not a problem. The hubs I'm able to put solar into on the Dr.Prepare batteries. Say that my entire system goes down and only the Dr.Prepare batteries are left working. Not a problem, because you can have DC out directly from the hub. I think it is incredible that I've taken my time with my build and I've learned through the process. A year ago, I would have had no idea what Dr.Prepare was, what 100 amp hour batteries were, what 4-gauge wire was, what 150 amp fuse was, but here I am adding things to my system and learning along the way. Will this be my final system? I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that I'm excited to know how to troubleshoot something if something goes wrong. And a part of that is thanks to Dr.Prepare. Thank you for giving me the batteries so I could experiment in a way that financially I wouldn't be able to otherwise. If you learned anything, please like, share, subscribe, comment. I'm happy you're here, and I hope you learned just a little bit by sticking around.